make like closed doors, whereby they cook among the families, or not they cook among the families and give out to friends, and that's it. What happened was my grandmother remembered that after the World War II, she remembered that a lot of Peranakan ladies were cooking nonya kuehs or and stuff like that and selling it to people to earn some pocket money, because back then it was really hard times. So it was very common that Peranakan girls like her from those families would cook to sell Peranakan food. And during 1945, that's when my grandmother first remembered she came out with her maternal grandmother to cook such food and sell. And she always remember that different time of the year they'll make different cakes. For example, like when it comes to people having kids, for example, if you have boys, they will make ang-i, which is those red brown balls. Yeah. If you're having girls instead, they'll give you the red tortoise cakes. Yeah. Then, for example, like Chinese New Year, they will make the brown rice cakes, which is different from the Chinese, because the brown rice cakes would be more of our local Peranakan nian gao, whereas in China the nian gao is usually white in color. Then, for example, they'll make pineapple tarts or kueh bangkit, which is coconut milk biscuits. Then it depends. So what happens is during the 1960s, my grandmother then she was married with 2 kids, and back then she actually decided to make nonya rice dumpling, which is her grandmother's recipe, and sell. So that's where she started out selling full force rice dumplings from 1960s, and up till 1996, where she handed the baton over to my dad. That's where my mom, she decides to help my dad diversify the business. So that's why you see we have a lot of variety of cakes selling outside. Because my mom, being a Zhao An Ren, so what happens is when she's married in the family, she knows nothing about Peranakan food and culture. So being a newbie, she has to learn from scratch from my grandmother. So with those cooking recipes she had learned, she decided to diversify by making different cakes and sell. Because during 1996 it was a bad year. If you have checked your history well, notice that 1996 is where the Thailand financial crisis appears, and 1997 is the total meltdown of all the Asian financial market. So that's where it was a good year for us, whereby when we diversify, it was easier. Somehow, I'm not too sure why. Yeah, but that's where we make the small rice dumplings, the mini otas and soon kuehs and stuff like that. Then it's only about 8 years ago, sorry. About 8 years ago, that's where my parents decides to diversify the business by doing a restaurant line to sell Peranakan food. And back then when we first started out, a lot of people didn't know what's Peranakan food. We have misconceptions that say it's Indonesian food, it's Malaysian food, all the food is spicy food. They had the wrong conceptions. So what happened is we decided to have this small little department over here, just to showcase some of the old stuff that we used to keep at home, have some posters to introduce the culture so that people get to know the culture better. And it was a good step, because when people knows what they're looking at, they tend to be more appreciative with the food they eat at. And not long after, we had started to have people like saying, hey, I like this porcelain, can I buy it, and stuff like that. So slowly we started to sell porcelain, and then batiks, and now into kebabs, and now we diversified another department doing all the Peranakan materialized stuff. And somehow it turned out to be a success, because when people come down to our shop, they get to experience lifestyle culture and food culture in one place at a go. Yeah. And shortly after that, I'm not too sure what happened. Esprit and a lot of the shopping boutiques, they start to have a mini kiosk selling food, while because surprisingly what happens is when people buying things here and they're shopping until they forget the time, they start to enjoy food next door. So there are some synergies that helps out each other. So I guess a lot of since then, a lot of people actually, like Esprit, came on the papers that they decide to have a sandwich bar so that people can shop for clothes to the point that if they're hungry, they can eat. After eating, they can come back and shop again. So it seems like a lot of businesses have followed the kind of model. Yeah, ever since we did this. Yeah.